Lexus IS 500 F-Sport Performance, Acura TLX Type S. Which is the better sport luxury sedan with a Japanese soul? Today we'll find out. You guys have been asking for a comparison between the TLX Type S and the Lexus IS F-Sport Performance. We have a full comparison here. We're gonna break it down, every single aspects of the car compared side by side to see which vehicle is better. So I have two different tiers here. You have appearance and packaging, which is going to be this top portion here. That's going to have its own total. And this bottom portion, because these are performance vehicles, first and foremost, really, we're going to give this area double the points. So this will have twice the weight compared to the things up here. Now, take everything with a bit of subjectivity today, because I am human and I have been in both of these vehicles. I've driven the TLX Type S around Laguna Seca, and I've driven in the IS 500 F-Sport Performance. I don't know anyone who's been able to actually drive it yet, other than Lexus employees or Lexus race car drivers like Townsend Bell, who I drove in the IS 500 with. We don't know exactly price yet on the IS 500, but we're going to compare everything that we know on the IS 500 compared to the now on the market TLX Type S. Grab your snacks and drinks, smash a like button if you're excited, and let's get into it. Starting with exterior design. The normal TLX looks great, and you have the chicane lights, a quad tip exhaust on the Type S. Especially you have the additional spoiler on the Type S, the meaner looking grille, etc. More ground effects as well. I think it's a really good looking sedan overall. So I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. So the maximum they can get on this top portion is 5 points. But I think the IS F-Sport Performance nudges it out. Triple beam LEDs, the new IS is just an absolute stunner when it comes to the refresh, redesign that they gave it. The quad tips look good. I actually think the quad tips on the Type S look better. They're larger, but the regular IS does look better than the regular TLX in my opinion, and that's just going to give it that extra nudge. And it does have a bigger hood bulge on the IS 500 to house the fire-breathing V8. Okay, so Lexus IS gets the 5 points there. Now, paint options. You have Tiger Eye Pearl on the new TLX Type S. You have Apex Blue Pearl, and then you also have Phantom Violet. I think overall the color options are really good here, but none of them like completely blow my socks off. I'd probably get the TLX Type S in white or the Tiger Eye Pearl, because the Tiger Eye Pearl is exclusive to the Type S. So I'm going to give this a 3. Lexus is going to have a new paint color, which is Incognito, on the launch edition of this vehicle. That's a bonus point pretty much, because that color looks insane. It's like Nardo Gray from Porsche. It has Ultrasonic Blue Mica 2.0, which in my opinion looks better than the Apex Blue Pearl. And then Infrared used to be exclusive to the coupes in the Lexus lineup. Well, now you can get it on the IS. So I'm going to say the IS is going to have better paint options overall, and it's going to nudge out the TLX Type S noticeably there. Moving on to wheel designs, the Type S has 20-inch wheels. You have 2 options here. Your all-season is a bunch of different spokes, and then the performance one, which is about 20 pounds lighter or so, that is kind of inspired from the NSX. I'm going to say the wheel options here on the Type S are about as good as you can get, in my opinion, from a factory vehicle. Now, standard on the IS 500 is the 19-inch NK wheels, which they're not ugly. They don't speak to me. However, you can get the BBS wheels optional, and they are standard on the launch edition of the IS 500. But overall, I would say the wheel options just aren't anywhere as good as the TLX Type S's wheel options. So points there for the Type S. Interior design. The interior cabin for the passengers is about the same in the back seat for both of these vehicles. But in the front seat, the TLX is much more roomier, and you have Type S embossed into the headrest. Like, I just like the overall interior design, and we know that the Lexus IS is old They've kind of revised it a little bit, but I don't think it flows as well as the Type S. So I'm going to give the Type S a 4 and the Lexus a 3 here in terms of interior design. Now, interior colors. You have white orchid, you have red, and you have ebony. I would only be getting in the white orchid. The red is okay, the black's okay, but the white orchid to me is really, really good. The other two are ho-hum. So I'm going to give that a 3 here. And then the circuit red, which is way too much red, and the black is okay. The white looks really good on the ISF Sport. And then also for the launch edition, you're going to have a gray interior as well. So I'm just going to give them both a 3 for interior color options. None of them really blow my socks off. I'd probably get white in both of them. Now, infotainment. This one is pretty interesting. So they have roughly the same screen size, but the Lexus is a touchscreen, so that automatically gives it points. It still has a remote touch interface, which is not great, and the Lexus software that it uses is not great. I'm probably going to give this like a 3, and the True Touch interface like a 2. It's definitely not my favorite. I would put it up there with like Mazda's rotary dial. I don't really like either of them. I would prefer to have the option of a touchscreen like this Lexus. And the software on the TLX Type S is a lot better than the software on the Lexus, but the interface, the integration working with that screen is a lot more difficult, and I just prefer the touchscreen that is now on the 2021 and newer ISs. Okay, sound systems, they're both a 5. I don't need to go into this much. They're both phenomenal. Usability. The trunk space in the Type S is better. Yes, as you can see the cubic feet here. The problem is that the Type S, to make it stiffer and handle better, you have a cross-sectional rigidity beam or torsion beam, stabilization bar, whatever you want to call it, that is behind the seats. So you can still fold the seats down, but you have that bar there, which is going to limit your usability. So I'm going to give it a 2 here. And the smaller trunk of the Lexus, even though the seats fold down, it has a smaller trunk. So I'm going to give them both a 2. Now, features. When I was putting this list together, this really blew my mind how much better equipped the Type S is than the ISF Sport. Now, we don't know exactly how the IS500F Sport performance is going to be equipped, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it'll be equipped nearly identical to the IS350F Sport. That's something that I see Lexus doing. That's just kind of like their MO, is they don't give us a lot of options here. So the features on the Type S are impressive. You have iconic drive LED themes. There's 27 different LED themes for your ambient lighting. You have 16-way seats, a lumbar. You have thigh extenders and side bolsters on those 16-way seats with that Milano leather. It's really, really nice. I love those seats. Plus, like I said, the Type S on the headrest. You have a wireless charging. You have power folding mirrors. I'm really happy to see that. And you have memory driver seat. Now, if this is going to be equipped the exact same way, I'm talking about the IS500, by the way. So I'm going to get features here real quick. Let's just say features here on the Type S is a 5 out of 5. I'm really, really happy. No, it doesn't have 360 camera or heads-up display or pano roof, but I'm comparing it just to the IS right here. So that is our ceiling. All right, IS500 F Sport performance. It has a factory heated steering wheel, and it doesn't have any of these other options like the Type S does. So the features here, yes, and you have heated and ventilated seats and stuff like that. It's just, to me, it doesn't do enough like this Type S does in terms of features that it offers. You can't even get a power steering wheel or memory seats on an IS350 here in the United States. So things might be different from around the world, but again, you're not getting the IS500 around the world if you're watching this internationally, nor are you getting the Type S, which, by the way, the IS500 would be built in Japan, and the TLX Type S is assembled here in the United States. All right, so that sums up with the Type S getting a 2-point lead in terms of the appearance and the packaging over the IS500, but these vehicles are sport performance sedans. So we need to talk about performance now. Now remember, in this performance category, the weighting is double per category. So there are 10 possible points for these areas, and I'm not including odd numbers just because I'm converting 4 stars into 8 stars essentially. All right, anyways, handling. This is a very close area for both of these vehicles. Super handling all-wheel drive is phenomenal. It has torque vectoring, true torque vectoring. It has adaptive dampers. I'm going to give handling on the Type S an 8. The only thing holding it back is it is pretty heavy. Now, we don't know the weight on the IS yet, but it's not going to be that much lighter than the all-wheel drive Type S. Maybe 100, 200 pounds at the most lighter, in my opinion. We're giving up all-wheel drive for rear-wheel drive. It has a Torsen limited slip differential, and it has adaptive variable suspension. I'm going to say they're both going to be an 8 out of 10 in terms of absolute handling for the average person to be able to extrapolate. Like, I think both of them are really, really well handling vehicles. Braking, I'm going to give the TLX Type S a 10. I never felt like I maximized the brakes on the Type S when I was going around Laguna Seca. They have large calipers in the front and the rear, slightly larger than the IS 500s, which, by the way, the IS 500 has larger brakes compared to the IS 350. I'm still going to give the edge to the Brembo brakes on the Type S. All right, ride quality. Well, the Type S got those points earlier for having the 20-inch wheels. I believe that's also a reason why the ride quality in town is not great. So I'm going to give it 6. It was a very stiff ride when I was in town. Even in the comfort settings, it was still a pretty stiff ride. You can tell that it had been stiffened compared to the normal A spec. So I'm going to give it a 6 there for daily ride quality. And I'm going to give this, the Lexus, an 8. Because I already know exactly how the 19-inch wheels drive with the IS 300, and it was a very, very good everyday driving vehicle. It's one of the best daily drivers you can have. So I know that's not a performance metric, but I think it's important because most people are not going to be driving these cars to the limit all the time. Transmission, a very, very important topic here as well. They improved the 10-speed massively with the Type S. The Sport Tune transmission on there downshifts so much faster. The upshifts are faster too, but the downshifts are so much better, especially with the paddle shifters. So I'm going to give the 10-speed in-house transmission from Honda and Acura an 8 out of 10 here. I didn't write this in, but this is the 8-speed, the old 8-speed transmission that has been in the Lexus lineup for I don't know how long. 2013 maybe longer. I think this is the same transmission that was in the original ISF, right? So was that 2007? It's a long time for this 8-speed. Anyways, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's not as good as that 10-speed in the Acura. Engines here. You guys probably been waiting for this one. 3-liter turbo V6 twin scroll turbo, not twin turbo, single turbo, 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. Sewing machine smooth, great power. There's no turbo lag on it. You have great torque. I think it's like at 1400 RPM, you already have peak torque. So I'm going to give the engine for the Type S an 8 with massive tuning capability as well. This 5-liter V8 is pretty much maxed out unless you want to put a supercharger on it. 472 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. Total different power delivery because it hits peak power at 7100 RPM. I'm going to give it a 10. Fire-breathing V8 with almost 500 horsepower. It's almost comparing apples to oranges compared to this single turbo V6. Has over 100 more horsepower, so it gets the nudge there. But the engine on the Type S is very satisfying, great torque from down low. Factory exhaust, I'm going to give them a tie here for different reasons. So the V8 always sounds good. The problem is the stock exhaust on the IS 500 is going to be underwhelming. That's just the way it is. It's underwhelming on the RCF, it's underwhelming on the GSF, and it only sounds good from the factory in the LC 500. It's really, really unfortunate. The turbo V6 sounds really good when you're shifting. Otherwise, I would say the V8 sounds better every single way, because when you're shifting in the V6 on the Type S, it gives you a clap between shifts. It sounds really, really cool in the exhaust. Okay, reliability. It's hard to say. We'll start with the Toyota Lexus reliability. This V8's been around for a long time. This 8-speed has been around for a long time. This IS is essentially built on the old platform. It's going to get a 10 out of 10 reliability. The Acura, I'm going to give an 8. And the reason is, well, Honda reliability is really good, so 8's good, right? It's a new automatic transmission. It's newly tuned. It's not the same 10-speed that we see, let's say, in the standard TLX or MDX. It's sport tuned. They've changed a lot of things to it. And the engine's brand new as well. So we've never seen this engine before. We don't know how reliable it's going to be, but Honda makes fantastic engines. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 just because the transmission's new and the engine's new. But it could end up being a 10 out of 10 as the life of the car gets older. So it just depends, but yes, I'm going to leave it there. Value. I cannot give you guys an honest value here. And the reason is because we don't know the price of the IS 500. And this is a huge category for this comparison. If the IS comes in at 10K over the Type S, then it might be a tough sell for the Lexus. But if it comes in at 5 to 10K more than the Type S, let's say it comes in at 55 to 60K, that's going to be huge for the IS 500, and the TLX Type S will probably need like factory incentives if that's the case. Okay, but the way it is right now, we just don't know. So the total for the performance end is just barely nudged out by the Lexus with the V8. Okay, so 2 points ahead on the performance, whereas the Type S had 2 points ahead on the interior and packaging. So they're both tied at 87 points. They're exactly the same. I did not plan this, guys. This is just me looking at both of these as objectively as possible and telling you guys which is better in which area. And when you add it all up, they're so damn similar. It is unreal. We are just waiting for price, and that could tip the scales in the favor more so of one or the other. And if they're this close anyways, it comes down to what you guys like best. I hope I didn't disappoint you guys with my comparison chart today. You guys were probably thinking, oh gosh, Kirk's going to be able to objectively tell us which one is better than the other, and I cannot. They are so close, and they both offer great performance, great features, great looks, and great sport in the luxury Japanese segment that we haven't seen in a long time. And it really just comes down to price for the separation here. So Lexus, if you're listening to this, price the IS as low as possible to fight the TLX Type S head on. Which one would you pick? I'll see in the comments. We know they're both close in terms of the whole package. Which is your favorite? Do you like the TLX Type S, or do you like the Lexus IS 500? Do you want turbo V6, or do you want naturally aspirated fire breathing V8? You can't go wrong with either, in my opinion, and I'm going to end it there. I'll see you in the comments. I've probably said that 100 times. This topic, these two cars just get me so excited. I can't wait to see you guys battle it out in the comments below. None of you are going to be right. None of you are going to be wrong, because no matter what side you pick, it's an excellent choice. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.